The Egyptian President, the Prime Minister of Greece and the President of Cyprus participate in the 10th Trilateral Summit. Israeli occupation warplanes bomb a school housing displaced people in northern Gaza, killing 4 Palestinians and injuring several others. And Lebanon's parliament will hold a session tomorrow to elect a new president. Hello, good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock Cairo local time. You're watching Qnews. And we begin today's bulletin with the latest developments from Egypt, where the 10th Trilateral Summit between Egypt, Cyprus and Greece was held. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi, the Prime Minister of Greece, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, and the President of Cyprus, Nikos Christodoulidis, have participated in the 10th Trilateral Summit. Over the past decade, Egypt, Greece and Cyprus have advanced their trilateral cooperation across various domains, including in energy, economics, defence, as well as their political and diplomatic coordination. This partnership has involved high-level exchanges and multiple summits to advance joint projects and initiatives. The Egyptian President, Abdel Fattah El-Sisi, has emphasized the importance of cooperation between Egypt, Cyprus and Greece to address Middle East developments and achieve stability, with the aim of preventing further conflict escalation. In his speech at the Egyptian Cypriot-Greek summit, President El-Sisi called for intensified efforts to calm the region, address crises like the wars in Gaza and Lebanon, and achieve stability in Syria, Yemen, Libya and Sudan. He also warned against escalating the conflict into a comprehensive war, which would have catastrophic political, economic and security repercussions, including unprecedented waves of displaced persons and illegal immigration.
Common cooperation in encountering economic, political and social challenges. Cooperation and coordination among our states is a must, especially given the evolution.
The President of Cyprus, Nikos Christodoulidis, has stressed the need to enhance peace and stability in the region. During the Egyptian Cypriot-Greek summit, Nikos Christodoulidis emphasized the challenges in the Middle East and the need for cooperation. He also highlighted opportunities to strengthen collaboration in tourism, energy and security, and pledged support to Egypt in facing challenges, particularly within the EU framework. The Greek Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, has expressed his concern about developments in the region, stressing that it has become less stable and secure. Mitsotakis called for the implementation of the two-state solution and efforts to achieve stability in the Middle East, as well as ceasefire in Gaza and the release of captives. The Greek Prime Minister also urged the implementation of a transitional process in Syria to prevent further instability. Mitsotakis stressed the importance of strategic partnership with Egypt, emphasizing its significance for Europe's security and stability.
Try to work towards a ceasefire and, of course, a release of the hostages and find a way to reinitiate and reignite some momentum.
The Egyptian President and the Greek Prime Minister have urged regional de-escalation and stressed the need for expanding cooperation between the two countries to include all areas of mutual concern. Ahead of the 10th Egypt-Cyprus-Greece summit, President El-Sisi and Mitsotakis emphasized strengthening cooperation within the East Mediterranean Gas Forum and advancing the Egypt-Greece power interconnection. They also supported a Gaza ceasefire, humanitarian aid, the two-state solution, and the consolidation of the Lebanon ceasefire, and the implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701 to ensure regional stability. President El-Sisi and Mitsotakis also affirmed the need to ensure security, stability and territorial integrity in Syria, Libya and Sudan.
Environmental tourism would result in great benefit for our populations and increase the size of tourism between our friends.
In a joint press conference following the summit, the Egyptian President El-Sisi, has announced the signing of a number of memoranda of understanding between Egypt, Cyprus and Greece. President El-Sisi emphasized the need for Syrian stability, discussed improving conditions in Libya, Sudan and Yemen, and stressed that an independent Palestinian state is a key to a lasting peace. President Sisi also highlighted the importance of joint renewable energy projects. And for more analysis on this, we cross over to our newsroom where Selma is waiting for us. Selma.
Thank you, Mark. And for further analysis, we're joined from Cairo by Al-Ahram newspaper managing editor, Ashraf Al-Ashri. Welcome to Q News. And let's start off and ask you, what is your comment on the trilateral summit held in Cairo today between the Egyptian president and his counterparts?
Greetings to you and to the viewers of the news. Certainly, this summit comes in a very delicate time regarding the latest development in the Middle East and the new challenges that took place and the conflict in the region and the development in Syria and the Gaza Strip, as well as the Libyan crisis. There is a set of development related to the elevating the relations between Egypt, Cyprus and the Greeks economically and in the field of development. Where was the first meeting in Cairo held in 2014? And I think that the trilateral integration played a greater lure in the project of development, in the project of electricity linkage, the clean energy, in addition to special ad hoc project of investment and electrical linkage that will expand the circle of the trilateral cooperation in the field of cultural education and scientific research that will be in a new vein of boosting the relations between Egypt, Greece and Cyprus that require the more cooperation and coordination for the interests of the two countries and the region.
And sir, how do you think the trilateral alliance between Egypt, Greece and Cyprus has achieved any economic successes over the past years, in your opinion?
Certainly, this alliance they existed up till now and make it a qualitative leap between the countries, and it will be the only alliance in the region that achieved successes following its establishment in the field of development and economy. The three countries had a great framework of cooperation in the sustainable development and the project of gas electricity linkage. In light of such a cooperation, established the Mediterranean Forum in Egypt that achieved a great success regarding the gas, and there is a space of the free zones and the contribution of Cyprus and Greece in the Suez Canal project, and as well as the pharmaceutical conflict and healthcare that made a great leap of the cooperation. I think this summit tackled new projects that will be added as an added value for the credit of success in development in the upcoming periods through new mechanisms, through more investment, expanding the field of energy and gas, as well as the clean energy in light of a new project that will be agreed upon.
And sir, how do you see the impact of this summit on the situation in the Middle East?
Certainly, the escalation of the tensions in the region that speeded the convening of this summit, as well as things that took place following the fall of Bashar al-Assad regime and the obstacles that hinder delivering the humanitarian aid in Gaza, and along with the efforts of Egypt as in the provision of more than 80% of the size of the humanitarian aid, as well as the relevant negotiations regarding of making the hostage release deal, even through the meetings between Fatah and Hamas, as well as the community support community to manage Gaza Strip following the end of the captives. In addition to of the development in Syria in light of the consensus between the three countries to allow the Syrians through the democratic dialogue. So Cairo is a main pillar and supporter in the occupied territories in Libya and Syria, as well as that gain the support of the countries such as Cyprus and Greece, as it is the most prominent and the pioneer role in dealing with several issues in the Middle East.
And Mr. Ashri, and let's be a little bit more specific, and can I ask you, how does the alliance between Egypt, Cyprus, and Greece affect specifically the energy sector in the region?
Certainly. The energy project and the marking of the sea borders between Greece and Genoa, they played a great role of producing gas and energy through this project. The Mediterranean Forum of Gas does include America, France, and UAE, in addition to the ad hoc project producing gas and electricity that played a great role in the development related to the gas and electricity, and will establish a great effect in establishing stability in the region, as well as liquidifying the gas in two plants in Al-Bahira and Dumait governorate, and to be exported through Europe through the Egyptian potentials in liquidifying the Egyptian gas, along with Cyprus, Greek, and the region country. These projects played a great role in bolstering the trilateral cooperation between Egypt and Cyprus and Greece, and to expand the cooperation in energy and gas in light of the successful project being executed between Egypt, Cyprus, and Greece, and the project of gas in the Mediterranean area.
That was Ashraf Al-Ashri, El-Ahram newspaper managing editor. Thank you so much, sir, for your insights and for being with us. And now we're back to you again, Mark.
Thank you very much, Selma. Thank you very much indeed. Now, the Federation of Egyptian Chambers of Commerce is hosting the Egyptian Cypriot Greek Business Forum in light of the 10th trilateral summit between the three countries. Various Egyptian, Cypriot and Greek ministers are participating in the forum alongside more than 70 Cypriot and Greek companies and 200 Egyptian companies. The forum is scheduled to discuss ways to develop bilateral and tripartite cooperation. Discussions will also cover the energy, infrastructure, industry and agriculture, as well as transportation, logistics and health services, as we've been saying. Now let's get the latest developments in Gaza. Several Palestinians have been killed and many have been injured in the 460th day of the ongoing Israeli aggression on Gaza. Palestinian media reported that the occupation forces have targeted shelters and inhabited homes in Khan Yunis. They also bombed a home in the Sheikh Radwan area of North Gaza. Israeli occupation warplanes have bombed a school housing displaced people in Jabalia, killing 4 Palestinians and injuring several others. Local media also reported that occupation forces continued their artillery shelling of the Tal al-Hawa neighborhood southwest of Gaza City and bombed a family home, killing an infant. Gaza-based health authorities have confirmed that Palestinian death toll from the ongoing Israeli aggression on Gaza Strip has surged to over 45,900, with more than 109,000 others wounded. They added that the Israeli occupation army committed 6 massacres against families in the Gaza Strip over the past 24 hours, killing 51 Palestinians and injuring 78 others. An Israeli airstrike on Tubas, north of the occupied West Bank, has killed 3 Palestinians, including 2 children. Local resources reported that the airstrike targeted a residential area in the town of Tamun. Earlier this morning, the occupation forces stormed the town of Tamun, deployed snipers and infantry in several parts of it, claiming to have struck a terrorist cell. The Israeli occupation forces have detained over 45 people from the occupied West Bank during the last 24 hours. The detainees include former detainees, a woman and a child. Local media reported that the detention operations were occupied by widespread abuse and assaults against detainees and their families. Additionally, the occupation forces intensified field investigations in the town of Sa'ir. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees has said that hospitals in Gaza have become death traps. It also said that families in Gaza are torn apart and children are freezing to death, with starvation cutting lives short. Additionally, the statement on X urged for an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. The International Court of Justice has announced that Ireland has joined South Africa's genocide case against Israel. In a brief press statement, the ICJ said that Ireland had on Monday joined Nicaragua, Colombia, Mexico, Libya, Bolivia, Turkey, the Maldives, Chile, Spain and the State of Palestine in asking to intervene in the case. South Africa first filed its case against Israel in December 2023, accusing the country of committing genocide during its ongoing offensive in the Gaza Strip. Israel has denied that it is engaged in genocide and continues to fight South Africa in court. The US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is working urgently to secure a Gaza ceasefire before the Biden administration concludes, while President-elect Trump sets a critical deadline for hostages' release. Here's our special report.
Finally, with regard to the Middle East.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is making a final effort to secure a Gaza ceasefire before the Biden administration ends. Speaking in South Korea, Blinken expressed optimism for a deal within 2 weeks, though he acknowledged delays may still occur. Israeli officials are engaging in talks in Qatar, mediated by Egypt and Qatar, but significant disagreements continue to block a truce that has eluded negotiators for over a year.
Horrible war that's going on in
President-elect Donald Trump has issued a stern warning, threatening severe consequences if Hamas fails to release hostages before his January 20th inauguration, a date seen by many as a critical deadline for a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Congress formally certified Trump's election victory in a session presided over by Vice President Kamala Harris, contrasting sharply with the Capitol riot during the 2020 certification process.
538.
In Gaza, Israeli airstrikes over the weekend killed at least 100 people, according to local health officials. Nearly all of Gaza's 2.3 million residents are living in makeshift shelters, enduring severe winter conditions and worsening floods. As negotiations continue, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza grows more desperate, with millions in urgent need of aid and protection.
Meanwhile, in Syria, the French Foreign Minister, Jean-Noël Barrot, has stated that EU sanctions on Syria could be lifted quickly. Barrot added that there are ongoing discussions with EU partners about the possibility of lifting other sanctions, contingent on progress in areas such as women's rights and security in Syria.
Les lois que nous sommes données pour protéger notre espace public, soit elle ne le fait pas, et alors il faudra qu'elle consente.
Street vendors selling fuel are lining a highway in Damascus, earning their livelihood and giving Syrians easy access to gasoline and diesel. Before Assad's fall, Syrians had limited access to gasoline and diesel and had to wait to receive messages from the state that determined when and how much subsidized fuel they could buy. Meher Khalil El-Hassan, the trade minister in Syria's caretaker government, said on Monday the country is unable to make deals to import fuel, wheat or other key goods due to strict US sanctions, despite many countries, including Gulf states, wanting to do so. And in Lebanon, the Lebanese Parliament Speaker, Nabi Berri, has confirmed that a parliamentary session will be held on January 9th to elect a new president. Leading contenders include Army Commander General Joseph Aoun, Lebanese Forces leader Samir Gigi, and Marada movement leader Suleiman Frangi, an ally of Hezbollah. Other potential candidates are Interim General Secretary Chief Elias El-Baisari, lawmakers Nimat Frem and Ibrahim Kanan, and former ministers Jihad Azor, Ziad Baroud, and Jean-Louis Kadahi. A candidate needs 2/3 of the vote, that's 86 lawmakers, in the first stage, with an absolute majority required in subsequent rounds. The Lebanese National News Agency has reported that Israeli artillery targeted the Marjayoun plain, aiming at the outskirts of the town of Borj el-Malouk in South Lebanon. The agency also said that the occupation army targeted a house on the outskirts of Bin Jabil towards Maroun al-Ras in South Lebanon, marking the third home to be hit since Wednesday morning. And that's almost all we have time for. Let's recap the headlines. The Egyptian President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi, the President of Cyprus Nikos Christodoulides, and the Prime Minister of Greece Kyriakos Mitsotakis participate in the 10th Trilateral Summit. Israeli occupation warplanes bomb a school housing displaced people in northern Gaza, killing 4 Palestinians and injuring several others. And Lebanon's parliament will hold a session tomorrow to elect a new president. And that's all for our news bulletin for this hour, but don't forget you can follow us any time of day at Qnews EGY on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram and TikTok to stay informed. Thanks for watching. In Depth is coming up next right here on Q News.